Hi, welcome to Up Your Nerd Cred. Did you used to know everything that was happening in the Marvel and DC universes? Did finding out that some superheroes are from Marvel and some are from DC blow your mind? Has keeping track of everything happening there, and then realizing that we're only talking about the comics universes and not the cinematic ones, and all of these different universes with their own multiversal crises have all gotten out of hand? Well, don't worry. Up Your Nerd Cred is here to talk about the gods cosplaying as men, the men's cosplaying as God, and how much the cinematic universes are really leaving out. At the end of each episode, you'll hopefully know a bit more than you did and can up your nerd cred. I'm your casual nerd host, Cece. I'm visiting family for Sukkot, and let me tell you, eating in a tent to remember being desert people is way cuter when you're actually in the desert, because when you're in New England, there are bugs in New England who like to surprise nice, unsuspecting Jewish girls and start flying around in their faces when they're trying to eat outside. Not fun.
And I'm your expert, quote unquote, host, AM Diaz. And I am currently experiencing extreme FOMO because it is New York Comic Con weekend, and I am just so far away from all the premieres, explanations, discussions, plots, and everything else going on, not to mention all the cosplay.
Sir, you were just at LA Con, which we will get back to.
Yeah, but that's not the same. That is not the same. It's New York Comic Con.
Okay, well, why don't we introduce our guest co-host today? How about that?
That is awesome. We do have some guests today, people.
So,
Hi, I'm Jordan, also known as the girl with a great smile. Today, I am one of the psychic redheads, Jean Grey, Hellfire Gala. I am also the co-host of X-Men 101 Pod and the crazy auntie in House of Carnation. And let me invite our other guest, Colby.
I'm Colby. Jordan and I have a very, very long history of, God, probably coming up on 15 years.
Wow.
We have our nerddom has grown together. She's the reason why I even got into cosplay through the Hellfire Gala. I'm here because I was told there would be snacks, but also fun conversations about nerd stuff. So I make fun cosplay stuff. I have filled my home, our second living room, the garage, and a spare bedroom with fun property. Yeah, so now my home looks like some sort of crafting reality TV show competition set. Which
I bet your husband
That's
loves
what I
that
was going
setup.
for. You know what? That's why I have the most amazing husband in the world. He's like allowed me to just like do all this is not normal.
Ooh,
I fully
the official
embrace that.
The official husband
Define
guy
normal when it comes
of the
to cosplayers.
podcast. The official husband guy of the podcast
I mean-
might have something to say about that, by the way.
So actually, my husband's an even bigger. He was actually really into the comics, like from childhood, X-Men, knows a ton of stuff. So when we started dating, he was way more of a nerd about this stuff than I was. So it's kind of been nice to catch up, and he provides me the exposition and information to understand the stories and everything. So he has definitely enabled me to become a bigger nerd.
And this is why
Yay.
you need to have an expert and a casual nerd together. Gang, we are hanging out and having our expert nerds and our casual nerds coming together. It's our first collaboration with the hosts of X-Men 101. So we're so excited.
Yeah, we're so glad you guys could join us for this.
I might have used the word excited like 4 times in one sentence when we were first talking about this. That's not important. What is important is we're not going to let it completely distract from the format. And by that, I need to ask podcast listeners, what are we nerding out about this week? Okay. Now, as always, it does not just have to be about heroes and villains. Hey, there's drama happening on Book Talk. The government has been a mess since 1600 or so, maybe more. Realistically speaking, if I get more beads, husband guy is going to very quickly become very annoyed with me, so I can't keep doing this, but the community is having a great time. What are you guys nerding out about?
Well, let's start with our guests first. Jordan, what are you nerding out about?
Rediscovering Hellfire Gala and Hellfire Club, and I've been I don't know. I think it's because my desk is cleared of cosplay stuff because there's no cosplay for me for the rest of the year. I have to focus on work. But I've had time to revisit some things, and I now my obsession about the Hellfire Gala is back. And that's why I had to bring back one of the iconic moments in the last Hellfire Gala.
Gee, no!
I would like to point out there's a very real reason why the current pretty princess is not me on the episode. Murder Queen here.
So good.
See? So on that front though, I do need to ask because everybody else cosplays but me. So like there's the first course my main question of like who has a harder time contouring a drag queen or a cosplayer?
Drag queen, 100%. They have to
Yeah.
make up a new face shape. At least in cosplay, you can like follow your own contours, follow your own face. Like trying to make this a woman, a couple people have tried. Once it was pretty. I looked like Conchita Wurst. It was weird.
All right, we're gonna need photos of that drag.
Yeah, we need to see
I was
this.
hosting totally. It is me and Mayhem Miller.
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
We
Yeah.
come from the West Hollywood scene when the
Yes.
stars were rising in the Abbey, and so we've seen how a lot of these drag queens work. And I also come from the world of drag, but I was the fish drag, so I've learned it's like whatever I have. But one thing that I know is the world of drag and cosplay is really merging together, and you see it in the newest the latest episodes of the show that we're not getting paid to promote, so we're not gonna say the name of the show.
We
But
know the show.
yeah, but
We all
so
know it.
yeah, in that show, you'll see some of the anime cosplay queens, but because they're also not licensed to talk about what they're cosplaying, they have to make it generic. But you're starting to see it. The difficulty for cosplayers, we're learning to elevate our game
Mm-hmm.
because of what we're learning from the drag queens who have paved the way.
I will say I have learned a lot of my what I call makeupless makeup, men's
Mhm.
makeup, in doing it from drag queens. Oh my god, my setting powder, Trinity the Tuck, that's from her. It's literally I have learned like so the trick you want to know the JD Vance eyes?
Listen.
Okay, so what he does, top just half. You don't do the bottom. You just do from this corner to the middle with eyeliner. That's what he does.
Okay, then why does it always look like he's got it on like full and it's smudged? Like, is he putting it on and just I don't know. You
He's
know
a
what?
messy
Pretty.
queen.
It's that's the thing. He literally is just putting that little bit right here because it does make the eyes pop more and little bit of tricks in politics. And that's literally makeup. That's another thing I want to point out. This administration, for everything about their gender norm, sure as fuck is the most makeup friendly presidency I've ever seen.
I mean, considering the fact that the Secretary of Defense has a grinder profile now for the entirety of the military, I mean, no fats, no femmes,
Wow.
I
no
know.
food, bro.
My God.
Let's go back to
That's
intros,
what we're
though.
talking about, though.
So what I am nerding out about is House of Carnation, which is just a community project that Jordan and myself have kind of been putting together. And it's all about creating a safe space for anyone that considers themselves an outlier, anybody that feels lonely, has a hard time connecting with people. It is a completely decentralized social network. It's like our own Facebook that we control who's on it, who can post, who can access. It's not about comics. It's typically that's what we're attracting. We're not advertising because it's not a business. We are literally basically a support group. Last weekend, I put together 2 Family Feud games that we did with the Ex-Wife podcast versus Homo Superior, and
Wow.
then House of X versus Solving for
I wish I could have
X.
been a part of that. I'm sorry I couldn't make it.
It's time.
And so these are all coming out on the House of Carnation podcast, which just came out this week. We post full video episodes on houseofcarnation.com. It does not cost money, but we are trying to create a place of community and support because of what's going on in the world. It's more important than ever, and it does not exist. People are not aware that over the past decade, over 50% of gay bars have closed. We're literally losing all of our in-person meeting spaces. And if we do not establish somewhere, look, they're already flagging everything gay and everything is inappropriate. If we don't work now to form a community and keep each other together, we're going to be fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my mission through this is like, okay, I'm starting it, but I'm not the leader. I am not in charge. It is a community project. Community requires participation, and it is people supporting each other. Last week, we did something called Play and Plug. So everybody that came on, they got to plug one thing, whether it was their own account, whether it was a business, fun fact, anything. And it's all about making each other aware of each other in the community so that we can support each other. So that's what I'm
Beautiful.
nerding out about.
Yay.
And I think I have to say that one of the things that I really like about it is the decentralized aspect of it, because not everybody is in New York or LA. And even if we like cluster together in groups, it's not necessarily going to help somebody who is in the mountain time zone when they're trying to calculate everything and nobody actually includes mountain time zone in main calculations. It's like Pacific or
And what do you
Eastern
do
or
between
Central.
conventions? We're that in between. We're, the online experience of being able to carry that community, as
Yeah,
much
it's
as we can online. And, research has shown that specifically the LGBT community, the friendships and relationships that they form online, because of the nature of being closeted and everything, are equally as valuable as the relationships they form in person. So it is very much a real thing that the relationships that we will build in this community are very valuable. This is not just a surface thing. We're really here to support each other
So it's like the con floor in your pocket.
all the time.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's great that they've been
Because
putting this together.
con season is, sure you've
And
got
it's
it like
free. It
San
doesn't
Diego
cost
to New
money.
York. Yeah, con season is super expensive.
Yeah, and so many people are like, they can only do like one con a year because they do live in mountain nowhere. And
Well,
I saved up for San Diego Comic-Con, and that is all I'm doing the entire year. So this way they can keep those connections throughout the year.
Well, the amazing thing about this platform is we can create events, like we can have drag shows on it. We can actually have people sell courses if they want to teach something. We have all these different ways that we can support the community. Right now, like, I'm funding everything. I don't even have a job, but like, that's how important this is to me. Like, the more that it builds up, I think it's like $250 a month. We can actually have it as an established app, like in the App Store, not just like a website. So it's like, you don't have to open up the Instagram app and know that you're going to be anxious and like run into all of this triggering shit. We want it to be the place that you can log on and you're going to find happy stuff. You're going to find supportive stuff. You're not going to get that feeling of anxiety. You're actually going to find happiness, because that's a little hard to find online right now.
Even if you follow Gail Simone on Threads, occasionally people will try to mansplain things to her. Oh my god. Oh my
That's why
god.
I'm not on Threads either. I had to
I get it.
Maybe we
I
should
get
get
it.
Gail Simone to sign up for this group, so that way she can have a point where she's not constantly getting mansplained.
Well, what are you two obsessing about? Not obsessing, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Nerding out about.
You're right. But both are correct answers. For me, New York Comic Con's this weekend, and they showed
It was
a
a big
preview
Marvel one.
Yeah, they showed a preview of X-Men 97 second season.
yes.
And even though people weren't supposed to, people leaked the trailer. So
Shocking.
I know, right? Well, honestly, a little bit shocking because the first season, nobody leaked it. It did not end up being leaked until they officially dropped the trailer. So I was surprised this time that within seconds.
Well, I appreciated it.
Did
but-
Kevin make somebody mad? It wasn't me. I'm in New England, but did Kevin make somebody mad?
Probably. But it was. I've been like analyzing that entire trailer, seeing like the different Easter eggs and costumes and stuff like that. So we've got stuff for the Grant Morrison X-Men. We've got Generation X hints. We've got Jubilee with the new hairstyle. So much
Yes.
is going on.
Yes, I have that wig, so I'm going to be.
You're ready for.
Well, I don't have a wig, but I will. We can, you know what? We'll get into like what it is that we're like the nerding out segment. But I will say that there was a time that AM suggested that I could probably pull off a very specific Jean Grey look, and I have all of the elements for it. I just never put it together.
You just
And
do
so
it. You just
That's what I've been telling her for ages, but if I'm not there to actually like put it in her hand, she's not going to do it.
yeah. Also, you'll note the fact that AM doesn't have any very cool drag like contouring commentary to make because I haven't gotten into that either. So I guess we all have our crosses to bear. So let's take a quick break.
I let everybody else talk because I have my Nightcrawler contouring that I do. So
let's take a quick break, and we will be back to up your nerd cred.
how can maybe?
Hi, welcome back. So the question burning me up this week actually is, how did the Hellfire Gala become the Met Gala for mutants?
I see what you did there.
So, but no, like, all right, we do love a bit of backstory here. And even though there are gods wandering around in the Marvelverse, I personally find it to be a little wild for the Hellfire Gala to be the name of an event that everyone is going to, but it turns out, much like Vogue has been around for years before the Met Gala, and before the Hellfire Gala was all green carpets and mutant couture, it started out as something a lot darker, the Hellfire Club. Are you guys familiar with like the original Hellfire Club sort of background such?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
The
How did you guys
Uncanny
first become?
experience, I get to be part of the Hellfire experience. So I have a very intimate knowledge.
excellent.
You and your
excellent.
skimpy shorts.
See, I gotta consider. Anyway, that's not important. So we're not gonna talk about January Jones's performance of the iconic White Queen. We're not gonna
I
talk
still
about
don't
it.
blame her.
We're not gonna talk about it, but
It's not her. It's not her.
It was the script.
You will remember hearing about the Hellfire Club in First Class movie. Now, it was originally a secret society of super rich, super corrupt elites who like to manipulate world politics for funsies-ish.
Honey,
So it's
for
like the
me,
Illuminati, but like with better lighting and worse morals. Actually, wait, no.
And sluttier outfits.
We have an
Yeah,
Illuminati in the
bondage.
Marvelverse. That's not a good it's not a good comparison. Yeah, that's true. There's way more bondage there. So
Yeah,
No,
it's
but
a
here's the
great.
thing. The Hellfire Club, it's all about like not being like super showy. Their whole thing is like in the shadows doing the shady shit. That's why we don't have an easy comparison. Because, it's happening. They just, they're like, hey, we're over here.
man, the
Yeah,
Hellfire
you really
Club is
look at
like
their
if the
backstory.
deep
It's like,
state actually exists.
yeah, but it
Right.
involves
I mean-
corsets, whips, chains, and just a little bit of global manipulation.
And Jeffrey
According
Epstein.
to Madison Cawthorn, we already have that happening. Anyway, the Hellfire Club itself first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 129 in 1980 and was created by one of the pod's favorite recurring duos, Chris Claremont and John Byrne. Apparently, they borrowed the idea from a real 18th century Hellfire Club. In the Marvelverse, though, the original was a British gentleman's club, and some immigrating members, Sir Patrick Clemens and Lady Diane Knight, founded the Hellfire Club's New York chapter in an abandoned church located at now what is on Fifth Ave in Manhattan's East Side.
As a side note, it wasn't just inspired by the real Hellfire Club, but also by an episode of the British Avengers TV show
yes.
where they went into a secret club and one of the main characters, Emma Peel, was basically dressed up in the same way that Jean Grey was.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember that episode. But yeah, they pulled from a lot of references.
All right, so I will say that what every secret society needs, though, is a theme, and club's leadership ran like a chessboard. They had the white and black king and queen. They had their bishops and their knights. The chess motif is there, honestly, because Hellfire Club is all about power moves, seduction, strategy, not just superpower. And then the original Hellfire Club started to make too many moves against mutants and didn't realize who they had in their ranks.
So before we jump too deeply, what are your guys' history or familiarity with the Hellfire Club, Hellfire in general?
Mine was from the animated series, the original one. I was not a comic book person. I was more of a animated series, and that was in the 90s when I was coming out of after clubbing on Friday night and then waking up Saturday morning to watch the cartoons. And there's this like old house, and there's people with ruffly shirts and women in basically what I was wearing the night before, just lingerie.
You feel
So
seen.
yeah, so that was my introduction. But then a couple of years ago, and Colby and I have talked about this many times about the origins of our Hellfire Gala walk based on the Hellfire Gala by the Hellfire Club. I learned that they've always had parties. They had this annual party, and one of the stories, and I think we're going to go into this in a little bit. And one of the stories is um, during a after Christmas party. So and then it goes deeper into that. But this is your show, so I'm going to follow your lead.
So demure. Colby, you do Hellfire Club at Uncanny?
Yeah. So last year, it was my first time going to Uncanny, and I was Magneto during the day.
Such a good Magneto.
But thank you. Dylan asked if I would be the beefcake in the Hellfire experience at Uncanny, and I said sure. And then I went to my husband and I said, "What's the Hellfire Club?" And I got a whole rundown of what it was and the backstory, and I was like, all right, well, I already have all those outfits, so that works.
The speed.
Also, what
the
a
WeHo
compliment,
days
by
come
the
back to
way.
help.
What a compliment to be asked to be the beefcake at Hellfire, though. That's I gotta kiss myself. I'm so pretty.
I actually
Wow.
prefer to keep my clothes on these days. I had them off for long enough, for over a decade.
I mean, Janet Jackson said something about not having to take our clothes off to have a good time, but Jermaine Dupri
She
thinks
also
that
had her
he was.
tit out.
That was not her fault.
That was
not her fault. That was Justin Timberlake getting a little handsier than we might have expected.
That's the
But-
clothing designer. It should not have been that easy to rip a whole fucking tit off.
All right, so we are going to get to clothing designers soon, but let's talk about some of the people who are actually running the Hellfire Club, eh? So generally speaking, if you are hearing about the club, you're going to be hearing about Sebastian Shaw, the Black King.
Yes.
An energy-absorbing industrialist who takes the whole greed is good premise to a whole new level. Emma Frost, the White Queen, the classiest and meanest bitch you'll ever want to be insulted by.
She's my favorite.
Jean Grey has lived her most White Queen life, but let's be honest, the only White Queen we want to hear about is Emma. Oh my God,
Jean
that's going to be
Black
clipped and
Queen.
taken out, or Black Queen, yeah. But that's going to be clipped and taken out of context, isn't it? Oh my God. Well, come back. Oh no, Dr. Umar's going to start watching this.
There it is.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God.
Love it.
I am so sorry for audio only because we have an amazing visual of the Hellfire trading club Emma Frost here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
We can do a screenshot.
We can do a screenshot. We'll share it. We'll share the clip on IG and everything. But please, if you are only listening to the audio,
so this is literally on the fireplace mantle. I love her. That's how much I love her.
That is the centerpiece of the entire room.
And correctly done. So, Sebastian Shaw did not appreciate the White King at the time, Edward Buckman, funding scientist Stephen Lang's Project Armageddon, given that the explicit goal was to eliminate the mutant threat, starting with the X-Men, by unleashing the mutant hunting Sentinel robots, and it did not end well for him. Yeah. So.
Yeah, with that, it was one of those... There's an irony to what Sebastian Shaw did with the previous guy, considering... Doesn't he continue funding the Sentinels and all that stuff later on?
Well,
I think that was a plot point. That was a plot point in the Dark Phoenix saga, wasn't it?
It's the same way that martial law is okay when it's on your side, apparently. You know what? I do not know how it is that we keep having these random non-escapist things coming in. It's weird. The X-Men has no commentary or is used for discussing the modern world. What am I talking about? That's crazy. So we're going to yada yada quite a few interesting years and get us up to the Krakoa era, where Emma Frost decides to spin the block in a way that only she can. So she turns the old Hellfire Club into the Hellfire Trading Company, which is basically the mutant world's import, export, diplomacy arm. So instead of secretly ruling the world, she's just openly running the red carpet.
Well, yeah, there's, with the whole Krakoa era, that was, them creating their own nation, their own,
A
place
safe
for
space for
themselves.
the mutants.
Exactly. But they knew they still had to interact with the rest of the world because, you can't isolate yourself completely. So, I know, right? And today's just like, we're just all sitting here going like, how hard would it be to isolate ourselves on an island?
Until it's time to go to the grocery store.
We'll have our own.
Well, that's
If
why we
there's
get a
enough of
Hellfire
us, we'll
Trading
have
Company.
our whole village.
I'm just saying, like, I need to get my jelly
Um,
beans on a regular basis, guys. Like, we gotta get this happening.
And I think that the idea is to create your community, kind of like, tying it back to what Colby was saying earlier. For me, how I saw Krakoa is they had to create their own safe space, but of course, with all the science and magic and powers and all of that. But in reality, can it be done? Yes, it can be done with resources. And that's why the Hellfire Club was all about wealth. So this is part of my work in my work in the trans movement. We learned from a philanthropy forum that this is in real life, okay? In the next 10 to 20 years, there's about $78 trillion of generational wealth that's going to be handed down to the next generation. Imagine what you can create with 70 trillion plus dollars.
Each
And we can.
But that's what I kind of love about the X-Men and the Krakoa. It's like their currency is not money. It is each other. It is like about a real community of participation.
Yeah.
And
And they still try to
that's
maintain-
what I love about it and what it represents.
Oh,
And they still
right.
try to maintain a connection with the rest of the world because they're offering like, hey, we're going to give you all these life-saving medicines that the Hellfire Trading Company will do.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we can do. We can also convince, or this is part of the narrative, changing the story to get those rich 1% to give the money to people as reparations, for example, for Black people,
You
for
can't say
natives, for
reparations because then the Black people are going to get handouts, and then that's just going to be terrible. We can't have that. Oh my goodness. This is
not to be political, but we are being political because X-Men is
Yeah.
X-Men is
100% from the start. It's like
I
the entire
just,
thing
I
was
want
civil
to,
rights movement story.
I just want to take a moment. Jordan was talking about her organization that she runs. They do amazing things. They train trans leaders to go back to their own communities and become more effective leaders and have their organizations be successful. So it really is amazing. They're like seeding the future trans leaders of America. So they really are doing amazing things. So I just wanted to give that a
Jordan,
shout out.
When we have a chance, could you send us the link so we can drop your organization's link in like the show notes or something like that?
sure.
that's gonna be really important. We got to make sure that like we put it in like at some place that like it's very apparent and obvious for like the stuff to be there. Okay, so cycling back to the mutants thing though, and by that I mean Emma Frost as a white queen is just like, do you know what we need? A gala. I think it's just an excuse for her to have like a new outfit, but whatever. Thus, the Hellfire Gala is born. Now, this first appeared in Hellfire Gala #1 in 2021 across every X title that summer. Now, I know that getting specifically into the issues and looks is very much your speed. This is like that specific one. Please tell me all about it. You are the expert, and I am just sitting here. I want to hear all about it.
Well, so actually, the expert for me was Michelle Michelle Otero. When I saw, so there's a little backstory with me and Michelle. I first met her Las Vegas Comic Con or something like that. And we were just both called the wrong characters by people. But and clicking with that, and then I saw her pop up on my Instagram in the first outfit, or was it the second one by Emma Frost, and I'm like, what is this? But anyhow, with the outfits I learned digging, doing the deep dive and really looking at the small panels. Basically not every, but a lot of the B and C X-Men characters are included, and they're wearing these glamorous clothes, which is, I have my bias. My favorite has been Russell Dodderman.
He did so much amazing work during that.
So this is a
Loved him.
Russell Gutterman design and my interpretation, but I wanted to capture that specific moment where she got stabbed in the heart. Well, it should be heart, but anyway. And so the designs, I think, is just making it real that mutants have powers, but they're still part human, so there's still that vanity
Yeah.
attached to it. They still need to look good. Some of them don't, but maybe that's a
Listen,
toot and boot.
Nightcrawler did not get done any favors. All I'm saying.
What?
everybody cannot get gifted a dress from Doctor Doom, okay? Like,
And
I know that Doom
Jumbo
wasn't wearing that
Carnation.
dress, but
That's
Mhm.
actually the inspiration for your house, right? The House of Carnation is inspired by Jumbo.
So the funny thing is, there's that Jumbo Carnation is actually inspired by something else. Oscar Wilde, back in the day, they used to wear green carnations as their sign of, hey, I'm gay, without, obviously they couldn't be out. So the symbol of the carnation, before, the Nazis used the pink triangle, the green carnation was a symbol for our community.
Wow.
let's
I didn't know
take
that.
a shout out to Polari, the sort of lost gay language that was used when having to be undercover was way more involved during Oscar Wilde's time, who got put on trial for being gay back in the day. So, and it's only barely stopped. How is talking about X-Men leading us into topical, like, political things?
Yeah,
I don't
it's shocking how,
understand it.
how often this happens every time we talk about him.
That's so
It is
crazy.
political.
That's so wild. That's so
According to
wild.
the internet, X-Men should not be political or woke or anything like that.
Right.
Well, also, Gail Simone should announce to people that she's trolling as well. So, according to the internet, there's a lot of stuff that we're all behind
I don't know if
on.
you guys were following that drama, but there was a guy who actually said, well, if you're going to troll people, you should let them know. And it's like,
Gail Simone? So, yeah, no, she does technically follow the podcast on Threads. So,
just that
maybe
little
we'll
name drop.
so yes, we do love Gail here, and there is a not so secret pod request desire to get her on here. I might have harassed AM to ask her at the most recent Uncanny, but he's just like, we just had this podcast for 3.5 minutes. Why don't we wait until next year? So next year, I'm gonna harass him.
But going back to the Hellfire Gala.
Right.
So for those who aren't fully familiar, I think we've mentioned it a couple of times. With the Hellfire Gala, that was a international event where they would bring in people from all over the world, dignitaries, celebrities, all this, and they would have essentially the Met Gala. And like Jordan was talking about, the mutants wanted to look fabulous for the world.
Mhm.
And so they were all given like new versions of, in many ways, versions of their costumes. But they were fancy and elaborate. Like, for example, Jordan's look
Avant-garde.
here. Exactly. Jordan's look here is kind of inspired by a lot of Jean Grey's green looks, her original Marvel Girl dress, her Phoenix look. Colby, when you did your Magneto Hellfire look, that one was a bit more inspired by House of M, wasn't it?
So the King Magnus one, yes.
Oh, no, that was
Yeah,
Rivals, too.
Yeah, so it was from Rivals, but yes, that is the House of Magneto. But yeah, that's the specific version of that costume from that story that I was doing.
But your first one
Dr.
was
Stasis?
no before that.
Captain America. Yes.
Yeah,
So
that was
my first one, yes, if you want to go back to my origin. So back in the day, started as an underwear model, then started my own line, had my own swimwear line. Marco is like, I taught myself from online, and then he was like my gay dad. So, he's, doing Britney show in Vegas and Kesha and all these things, doing wild and crazy costumes, not like normal stuff. So all the stuff I like. And then from there, I've just had such a passion for making things that I couldn't find anywhere else. And then when the Hellfire Gala came out, my best friend Max told me about it. We are super into fashion. And he sent it to me, and it really got me like looking into it. And it's the first time I ever even read one of the X-Men comics. And then right after that, I was going through a breakup, and Jordan and I went to White Party, and that's where I was like, I really want to do cosplay. I had never been to a convention. I had never done cosplay.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, I want to do it with you. Let's do like a group cosplay from the Hellfire Gala. Then the next time I talked to her, she was like, "We're doing a whole fashion show." And I was like, "Huh?" So my
Got
first
bigger and bigger.
experience was LA Comic-Con, the full-on fashion show for the Hellfire Gala. So that is my personal connection. My friend Max passed away last summer, so it has been
I'm sorry.
But the Hellfire Gala, like, it makes me feel closer. You know?
Aw.
We can raise a glass for Max the next time that one happens.
Yeah.
I said that, and then I didn't have a glass. I was the only one without a glass. Well, now I look like a
It's
jerk.
all right. You can
Raise
take
I'm
a
so
deep breath.
sorry.
Just take a deep breath.
I am so sorry, St. Max. I did not have a glass of water nearby. I have a
I think that
plate
was the
of
first time I met
food
you,
that-
Colby.
Yeah.
And also, it's like I hadn't been part of the group yet. I was still like getting into cosplay myself at the time.
Really?
Yeah, I think that was like maybe my second really big convention, second or third.
Okay.
But that was
And-
where I met you guys and got to be.
How many
Brought
people
into
were
it?
in that first one? How many people did we have? Because it was a big
You guys had a good
group
crowd
of,
that
like,
year.
and that's literally been my introduction and how I've like stayed with conventions and cosplay has been through
And became
all
our
of
official
this.
Magneto at the
Yeah.
Uncanny Experience.
Yep. But
See, I
not
mean,
next
so you guys
year.
just started out as like just like casually, just like coming across. Well, Am, you've had this since you were a child, but you guys came across this and you're just like, oh, this is cool. And now, like, so we've got two official cosplayers happening here. Wait, Jordan, are you an official Uncanny cosplayer as well? Because like,
Yes.
Yeah, she is.
Oh my god! So
But
basically, I am.
she bounces around characters. She does not usually have one specific character.
Okay,
So
come here.
yeah, which ones have you done in the years that we've been doing Uncanny?
So I've been Lady Deathstrike, the comic book and the movie version. I have been Lilandra and Tommy, and then Tommy with a paper doll dress that I designed myself, which was really, really cute. And then what was I?
Deathbird.
Deathbird. Yeah, I was Deathbird. And then I've just been obsessed with the design. And next year, well, no, I'm not saying next year, but I did do Emma Frost's diamond dress from
Ooh.
Hellfire Gala. But I did a mashup with Britney Spears' diamond nude bodysuit.
Oh my god!
I performed the mashup of Toxic with the song Pony at San Diego Comic-Con.
That's so cool.
That was really cool. There's
I'm
really
trying
no
to physically
video.
pick my bra up. Oh my god!
But yeah, so I'm a little obsessed.
Okay,
Join the
fine.
club, honey.
I'm going to see AM next month. Okay, I will pack my Hellfire Jean Grey costume that I have put together but not actually worn yet. All right,
You have
and
to.
Just
if-
jump in.
I'll put it together. And everything. But I think that I'm not going to post it on the Instagram unless people actually comment on stuff. That's right. I am engagement farming. Ha ha. So, cycling back though to the Met Gala, part diplomatic event, or I'm sorry, the Hellfire Gala, part diplomatic event, part Met Gala, psychic press conference. You've got like all of the mutants coming from everywhere. You've got real people showing up. Okay, Lil Nas X made a cameo. Janet Mock was apparently there. I think I saw that like Patton Oswalt and Jimmy Fallon might have been there, which
Yep. And of course, Kevin Feige and all that.
I mean, yeah, but he probably is just sitting there off in the corner, like with his little hat, drinking a beverage, just being like, yes, according to plan.
Actually, I think he was trying to convince Cyclops to sell him the movie rights to the X-Men.
Hey, you know what? I just want to see Feige and the one above all have a conversation, actually. That would be hilarious. But I don't know where that would pop up. Vogue and Entertainment Weekly, like, ran spreads, like it's like a full fashion week, though. Like, it like there's a whole like space like where like, there's a bit of a real world crossover, which is kind of wild, but turning glamour into space for her to gain respect as a mutant. I mean, could it be any more Emma coded? But that's what matters, that the gala isn't just fashion, it is politics.
Mm-hmm.
So,
they were using that event to establish themselves as a nation, to show more legitimacy. Especially because beforehand they were kind of.
It's the only time that they let like regular humans come to Krakoa, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was the first time they allowed anybody aside from like Northstar's husband to be on Krakoa. So, and it was, used as a way to promote the medications that they were offering humanity and to show that, no, we are a legit nation and whatnot.
I think very much that it was to show that, like, we are our own people. Look, we are together, like we are polished.
And we are fabulous.
Exactly. That, like, no, we're not just like, rubbing sticks together over here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of it that people probably have like very scared kind of vibes of mutants. Like they see stuff on TV where just like, there's explosions and stuff going crazy and people are dying and blah blah blah. Because I'm sure that somebody reads the newspaper in the Marvelverse, and
God,
to
I
be
just
able to
imagine
sit
what
there
cable TV is like when it comes to mutants and that story.
But so, like, I will say,
imagine
like,
Nancy Grace and like the Marvelverse.
No.
but I will say, like, going on gay cruises and everything, one thing that you see is costume wise, people go so much more like over the top out there. And it's because they're in this closed environment where they can actually feel like they can fully express themselves. So I think that that's very much representative of, okay, you can come, but like, this is our space. We're fully expressing ourselves in our safe space.
Yes, you are a guest here.
Side note,
Absolutely.
was anybody else very annoyed that the Avengers and Fantastic Four showed up to the first gala just wearing their superhero costumes? It's
Well,
like
they
that
were
felt
on
like
a
just
mission. There was a mission, for people who want to read it, but that introduction X-Men readers had to be quote unquote reintroduced or introduced to, the other generic Marvel characters. Oh, they're gonna hate me so much. They're so
Like,
boring. But
it's so hard to call that the generic Marvel characters when that's like the main MCU focus.
I mean,
the
you
usual
got to remember,
stuff. There you
we
go.
watched the X-Men cartoons, so it's like
Listen, I was there, okay? I
nobody
had my
remembered
own
Captain America back then. But you were saying,
I
Jordan.
I
It
had
was
my
a
own Jubilee comic book, okay? I was there. But yeah.
Yeah, so it was an introduction, and I think that's what one of the things that I loved about that first Hellfire Gala issue is the connection with what we started talking about is the Hellfire Club. That the Hellfire Club used to have their annual galas, and interestingly enough, in that book they reprinted that old storyline where, and I have to read from my notes here because my eyeglasses, there was an attack in one of the houses where Emma Frost was taking care of someone who met Carol Danvers in another comic book episode. I know there's these connections. And then the parallel with that one is Sebastian Shaw's lover, let's call her lover, Lourdes Chantel, who transports people, died in that first, not a gala, but first mention of the gala. She died there. And then in the last Hellfire Gala, he also died because, they never really died, but she also died transporting people, a parallel of what happened in that first mention of Hellfire Club's Hellfire Gala.
Ooh.
Goosebumps, at least for me, goosebumps.
Oh
So
no,
there's these connections.
especially the way that she died, because in the original story she faked her death thanks to Emma Frost. And in the
Mhm.
last one, she died in Emma Frost's arms. So there's also
Yeah.
that like really unfortunate parallel.
Yeah, and there's that one picture of Gambit in a harness outfit at the basement of the old Hellfire Club after they were transported. So they ended up going back to where it started. Isn't that great?
Almost did
So
that
good.
one. I almost did
I
that
did do that
Gambit,
one.
but then I did Dr. Stasis instead.
Because
Which-
it's more difficult.
Yeah, your Dr. Stasis was really awesome though. But I did
I
do
mean-
Gambit's kinky look for the last Hellfire walk we did. Thanks to
Harness.
Jordan, she was the one who recommended it.
Just harness.
She's been pushing that one.
I've
She
seen
got
far
me.
more of you in your cosplay than I have ever expected. Your Gambit and your Cable cosplays are a lot more than I ever expected. I'm fine with this. We're all grown, but we met when I was 12, so it's gonna take a second
That's right.
occasionally
You're a
to
baby.
so with Krakoa's politics though being on display, this is when they have like their first kind of Aim and I talked about this in a previous episode. They had a psychic vote for basically who was going to be like leading the X-Men team from this. And so that first election we had Cyclops, Jean Grey, Rogue, Sunfire, Polaris, Laura Kinney Wolverine, and Everett Thomas Sink, which I want to point out, Sink may have been like only like the only black hero who got on the thing that year, but there are other like POC members like on our roster and everything, and like representation has been there. And also, I'm gonna just put in my little note. One of the episodes that we're planning on for like the end of the year is conversations about black characters who do not have lightning powers or black in their name. And I just want to, let's shout out Sync, who does not have lightning
Oh my
powers.
god, I didn't even think about that. That's
it's
so
something
weird.
When you really stop and think about it, because you've got like Static Shock, you've got Black Lightning, Black Vulcan, Storm.
Like
Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man has electric powers, yeah.
I will say, I think where comics like really could step it up is start introducing and putting a lot more interracial characters where we don't know specifically what race they are, to start introducing that the world
Racially
is not so
ambiguous?
specific. Yeah, because like don't just
There
keep
are
doing
some.
this is a white character, this is a black character. I think if they started just kind of
Yeah, but even with that,
making
we still have to be careful, because it's worth noting that people lost their minds when Amanda Stenberg was cast as Rue in Hunger Games, despite the fact that like her district was full of black people.
Yeah.
But think about how many interracial people there are out there that don't have that representation and see themselves and have trouble connecting with either race because they have trouble, they don't feel accepted.
You mean my
in either.
kid? My kid!
That's what I'm talking about. I just think that would be very important and address more of the times that we're in now. I think that's an area that's kind of been ignored.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Jordan?
Yeah, there are new characters being introduced in the comic books, and there's going to be a lot more. Like, for example, the young mutants are called the outliers, basically, in the Uncanny X-Men, where they're showing Afro-Caribbean, Latino, and then they have the Singaporean girl. So they're introducing these characters, but I hear you, Colby, that in like the mainstream, let's say X-Men as a brand, and then there's all these other offshoots. They're in the offshoots as opposed to the usual cis, do I say it, hetero, or at least bi-curious white characters in X-Men, when there's all these other characters that make up what X-Men is about. So my critique is I want to see other people of color elevated, like what you're saying, CC, more than black characters with lightning powers.
That's so I never noticed or realized that. That's wild.
Or light related, because even Sync when they visualize his powers, it has to do with light. But there's this new guy in Uncanny X-Men, Ransom.
Ooh.
I'm not going to spoil it, but one, he's hot.
Yes, he is. They do him a lot hotter than they have any right to.
Yeah, and his power is not lightning related. So I think that's interesting. They are going in a direction, but I encourage the lead writers, the head, to other stories, other characters, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. We actually were talking about, like, in our previous episode on Moon Knight, we discussed how there's a lot of trauma and like mental health issues that really like a lot of our characters should be seeing. There's like, because Moon Knight is one of the, I introduced him as like a main character with DID, and then as we talked more about it, we're like, actually there's probably several other characters who probably have this, but we don't really have like therapists and stuff, on like the team as much. And even though Gail Simone is making sure to like run her character stuff, like for when when Barbara becomes Oracle, making sure that they're run through like a psychiatrist, are like making sure that they're doing it like overall with these characters is probably something that they're going to have to put in some work on. So
I honestly would love an X-Men story or a Marvel story where it's like they actually have like a therapist or a series of therapists who are seeing different heroes
an entire
and discussing
series.
And they go over their mental health stuff, and you can still have the action sequences, but as flashbacks during the therapy sessions. Exactly.
Oh my
I'm
god!
like, I would read that because certain characters. I mean, Cyclops alone for the X-Men, he's been through so much trauma that there'd be a great, like, my parents died, my girlfriend had died, like 20,000 times now. My ex-wife turned into a demon and tried to sacrifice her child.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, the entire Lucifer TV show, like, they're like, well, not the entirety of it, but like, there's a whole like premise of the thing of just like, I'm gonna go see a therapist because I gotta deal with my daddy issues. Granted, he has like the
I
ultimate
got
daddy
murdered
issues.
and then resurrected.
Again
Yeah.
and again and again.
I'm just saying, like, you know, we need to get some people who have like gone through med school and like actually have kept their licenses, Harley, to be able to talk to some of these folks and maybe get them on like appropriate meds. But meds aren't really like the thing that actually matters here. What we care about is the gala and the X team. Even though like the lineup does change annually. Not everybody decides they want to stay on. Sync is that Jean Grey and Cyclops are actually the only ones who stayed on from like the first Krakoa and wide vote to like the second roster change.
Yeah, but Jean and Cyclops had stepped down from the last one. They were not going to put the name in the running for the new team that unfortunately only survived like half a second.
Got split in half.
Yeah, that was an awkward.
Why are we laughing?
Because we laughed through our trauma.
I mean, what else can you do? But yeah.
Sync was one of the only ones who went all the way through on it, which was great. I mean, he was intended to become the new leader for the team, which kind of got pushed to the side after the attack on the gala.
Yeah. Interesting.
But it was the entire thing was interesting because they used the Hellfire Gala to do a vote for the X-Men, which was something never done really before. It was always like Xavier or Cyclops or Storm would compose the team, or that these random people would just randomly join the team. This was the first one where it was like everyone, all the mutants, heroes, villains, bouncing around in the middle. They all decided who they wanted representing them as Krakoa's first official X-Men.
Well, I think in the building
sense.
of the Krakoan nation, it's like, okay, they're experimenting with their version of democracy, like trying to figure out what is our structure, what is our order, how do we keep our nation a full community. So
honestly, I think that the best part about
Yep.
it, honestly, is the part that everybody actually, like, you cannot gerrymander, you can't, like, suppress
I was
votes.
gonna say
Every
that.
single person gets a vote.
Yeah, Jean and the other telepaths connected every mutant on Earth, and it was like every vote actually counted. It wasn't like, oh, well, the people living on Krakoa get a big or a smaller vote than the people living on, I don't know, New Jersey. They get a bigger vote because, they're a smaller community. It's like, no, every individual one counted.
Unless, of course, they're out in Wyoming, in which case their votes count like 3.5 times as much as everybody else, right? So, well, I will say that with the gala, though, every year the art, the costumes, everything gets more elaborate. The drama gets messier, and someone inevitably dies or gets resurrected on the dance floor.
Did somebody die at every single gala? I feel like somebody died at every single gala.
But not necessarily in the gala.
But like during the gala event.
In the storyline.
Yeah. Because like Wanda died. There's a mass murder in the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Or the last one, I mean.
That was the third one.
Yeah, the third one. And the second one, well, Banshee technically died because Moira cut him open and used him as a meat suit.
See, what happened was, so side note, wasn't it the Sentinels who actually like messed up that final one?
The Orcades.
It was Omega. Well, no, it was
Nimrod.
Dr. Stasis, Nimrod, Moira, and Omega Sentinel.
Yeah. Okay, I was just trying to figure out if I needed to make a title card, just be like, look at our Sentinels episode to hear more about this.
Yes.
Which
the
now
one
that I've made
when he smashed into the announcement, and then you see half of Dazzler over here and the other half of.
Yeah. Well, okay.
It was a very disturbing issue. By the end, like literally, it like makes you like feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, they did their job.
Yeah.
Have they gotten a little bit too fast and loose with it since they can bring everybody back now? Or
well, that was the problem. Yeah, but at that time, the problem that they kind of were running into was when all this happened, the protocols for resurrection kind of got thrown out the window. So you weren't sure who was going to be able to come back because we didn't have all of the
The five?
How many were there? The five.
All five?
I was going to say 7, but I'm like, no.
They did.
It's only 5.
Right,
but we didn't know where they were.
Exactly. They got thrown through the gate, and we're like, all right, where are they? Because as far as Xavier is concerned, they're all dead.
They're dead in a meat grinder.
Yeah.
And turns out they're not.
Yeah.
They were just
Charles, you're being dramatic again.
Why the fuck would you do that to me?
I mean, to be fair, hasn't most of the X-Men been Charles and Eric's breakup being made everybody else's problem?
Yeah, that's the meme. It's
It's the
two
most
guys,
toxic relationship.
and they keep going back to each other.
Look, sometimes messy bitches just need to be around other messy bitches, all right? I mean, that's why Destiny and Mystique get along so well.
I mean, that's probably the reason why I hate the Dark Phoenix movie, but I think the ending was the best outcome for Xavier and Charles, because they leave the X-Men alone, they go off to wherever, and just have their little, like, relationship drama in private.
All right. So, with that note, we are going to take a quick break to diagram all of these ridiculous relationships and breakups, and we will be right back with our thrilling conclusion.
Opportunity.
For like,
Welcome back to our thrilling conclusion. So, as we are wrapping up, are there any final thoughts about the Hellfire Gala? Who's taking secret selfies in the bathroom even though they're not supposed to? Like, who's hooking up
selfies
there?
Abused.
Who's
I wonder
hooking
what
up
Krakoa's
besides
bathroom
Emma
looked like.
Frost and Captain America at some point?
I will say,
No.
wish we had the opportunity for a more like themed Hellfire Gala. Like if it was Hellfire Club, Hellfire Gala, like where they were wearing all the leather and the like, that would have been cool to see like a more specific version that they did before they decided to murder everyone.
Love it if like Tony Stark convinced Captain America to wear like the bodice, like the Emma Frost bodice. It's like, no, everyone's gonna be wearing that, Steve. Do it. But red, white, and blue.
Steve might actually be convinced to do that kind of thing, depending on
I don't know
if it's maybe. So, all right.
One thing we didn't talk about was the post Hellfire Gala, which was the Hellfire Vigil after Krakoa fell and all that.
Yes.
Yeah. It was disappointing. It's like, I get you can't really make a morning vigil.
They couldn't. It just so happened that it's coming in a really terrible time politically for us. So they had to really tread carefully. But as far as the outfit, I did appreciate their attempt on a C character, Tommy, with a moo outfit. I'm like, come on. But they tried. So
wait, moo around trying to be like comfortable
because it's a vigil. Because it's a vigil, and then eventually Dazzler got arrested. But they did make an effort to be respectful, but also tell the story of acknowledging the loss of their nation.
That's it. The fashion, the avant-garde, all of it was a statement against society. It was a bold statement of identity. So, in my opinion, another even bigger Hellfire Gala would have been the better direction. And not a visual.
Everything was very subdued. Most of the men just wore traditional suits and whatnot.
So conforming back to normal society.
Yeah. And it was just like, it would have been more interesting if they were wearing, the elaborate contour that they were wearing during the...
I don't know if you know this, but...
Maybe with a black Krakoan flower instead of, the pink one or something like that.
Anybody who was around and, remembers, the entirety of, 2001, I'd say September 12th or so on for about 3 months, it was, no, we have to live our lives, otherwise the terrorists will win. And Hellfire having a big gala the next year to be otherwise the terrorists will win, could have been a really cool idea. But I can also appreciate people being like, that is so tasteless. Oh my God, so many of your colleagues have died. How can you go and party and dance on the...
They had to balance it.
Because it's the honoring them is standing out boldly in society and not hiding.
Exactly. That's
and exactly. It just, I feel like what they did was mute themselves down.
It felt very human-centric. Is that the right term?
Yeah.
Yeah, because why is the mutant response to a tragedy to be the same one as
to be less?
Yeah.
Not even that. It's conforming very specifically to not even like universal human mourning mores. It's a very specific American-centric mourning mores.
I do have to share this, that I come from, I was born in the 70s. I lived through the AIDS epidemic when it was coming out, when it was really literally blowing up. And you'll find this quote somewhere where LGBT people buried their people in the day, protested in the afternoon, and then partied at night. So when I read the Vigil book, I was like, something's missing here. who is contributing to the story? Why didn't they tap into that type of storytelling where, yes, we have been abused, we have been killed off basically, but we're not going to mute ourselves down.
Be
We're not
whipped into submission.
yeah,
Exactly.
we're still gonna party because this is still our life. I
Even
Mhm.
the
wish
New Orleans
this
funerals
mo-
have like a whole trumpeter coming at the end of
Yeah.
the procession.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Louisiana, and even just beyond that, like hurricanes and everything, loss and everything, you just celebrate because you're so used to losing everything
you celebrate.
that it is just, yeah, the response is to party and dance.
I
And
mean,
that's the
even
weird
being
thing about the
Jewish, they tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat is a whole like that's a big like through line for all of our like our holidays.
Yeah,
But yeah, going back to what Jordan was saying, it's like, and that was the thing, the Hellfire Vigil, they tried to do that because it was like you had the candle thing, but then you had a Dazzler concert and all that stuff.
they
But
try.
yeah, but they tried, but it's just like felt like it felt flat, and I think partially it was the visuals.
Because
Yeah.
what you do is you build up the energy, then you break. You have that moment because it stands out. We have a moment of silence. We respect them. It actually has power. People are like, it actually has meaning and weight. That's what was missing.
Catharsis. There was
Yeah,
no
and
catharsis.
also-
It sounds like.
Also, I will say having like the scene of Dazzler being arrested. Just I don't know about the rest of you who read that, but
Clarify.
the
Was
bad guys
this
show
before or after Dazzler was in two pieces?
she got resurrected. She's better
This
now.
is after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
I
the
just wanted
vid-
to check. I just wanted to check because people
It was
mentioned that
A year after.
Okay.
And she got resurrected thanks to Phoenix or Hope or something like that.
It was still the 5.
Yeah.
She's
Right,
What
Rachel
matters
Summers
is she
was
got
in-
better.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
That-
double check because that was a mentioned
like,
thing, and I've been like,
Just put a band-aid on it. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Pulled herself together.
my God, my God,
You're so proud of that
Wow.
one, aren't you?
Wow. All right.
But,
well,
but Dazzler got taken, and it was just like, all right, so the bad guys show up to a massive concert with thousands of mutants there, and they were able to walk away with her with no problem. And I'm like, really?
Because you have
Really?
to sell comic books. You have to remember this is still a business. You have to sell comic books.
all right. Well, speaking of selling comic books, we're actually going to move into our finale and the calendar section. So here's what's happening in the DC and Marvel multiverses this week. So we have a shout out to Justice League of America. The Brave and the Bold, number 28, it was first published February 29th, 1960, and was officially reprinted this week in a 65th anniversary facsimile edition, and that's releasing October 22nd, 2025.
And also, the X-Men Inferno storyline began with Uncanny X-Men 239 in 19 collected edition, hit stores also October 22nd, 2025. And for those who
Yeah.
remember, that is the story where Madeline Pryor, Cyclops' first wife, decided, okay, my husband left me, so I'm going to sacrifice our baby to demons. That's a good way to handle divorce, right?
And a Black Adam, the Dark Age #1 from 2007. It's the 18th year anniversary, recognized on October 19, 2025, marking one of Ted Adams' defining redemption arcs. Interestingly enough, October 18, not only is it my birthday, but it's
Happy
also
birthday.
No King's Day. No King's Day.
Hey,
No King's Day
King's
on
Day.
October 18th.
Yes. Yes.
do not sign up and put your name on a list. You can just protest anonymously. Please do
Get
not
your
put your name on a list
inflatable
to
frog
protest.
costumes now.
That's right.
Yes.
I
And our
actually
final
have a
event.
T-Rex one that I wanted to do makeup on and do T-Rexy Mattel.
Do it. Yes.
I mean, if you don't do that for the protest, you have to do it for look. The high holy
And then
days
at
are
some
coming
point, you
up.
just need to do like a professional photo shoot spread, just like lounging in the costume.
And you need to like have like the full like cut crease
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything too. Like
Oh yeah,
aggressive.
of course. But we are also celebrating Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers celebrates the debut of her binary transformation, Work Girl, in Uncanny X-Men #164 of 1982. Anniversary date October 21st, 2025.
Yay!
Was
so,
this the first time she changed her identity after Miss Marvel? Because she had like 4 or 5 of them, I think, but I can't tell.
that is a spoiler for the November episode, sir. What are you doing?
Mm,
Hey, I haven't looked that far ahead in the list.
So, all right. So, are there any premieres or rewatches that you guys have set up for this week? Anything in
Or
mind?
conventions or special things that you guys want to promote, such as, launching of stores or, new
Yeah, I
things.
have a fun one. I just had my first pop-up store yesterday for all my
Ooh.
3D printing stuff and all my art stuff that I made. So locally we have a store called Nerds Kingdom. So they're really doing amazing things for the community and trying to create a space where everybody can thrive. Yesterday
What was
was
the name
my
of the
first
store?
day. It's called Nerds Kingdom, Nerdz Kingdom.
Okay.
And so, I mean, yesterday was my first day. Well, the thing is, the stuff that I'm selling are like 6-foot swords that are like yellow and everything. They don't have experience with, merchandising in like a mall. It's very different than advertising in like a shopping center. It's one that I love because yesterday I saw how friendly and supportive every single one of the vendors were of each other. And you can tell it's a great support group and everybody is there like trying to help the owner also succeed. So fingers crossed, I'm going to try and convince them that like, hey, just let me come in. I'll sell your shit.
Okay,
So,
so
no,
you
but
are going to be
it's-
the premiere that we're looking forward to. I got it.
So I mean, asked me to go on the news. It's like, oh, so you want me to go make a commercial for myself? Sure.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
if it
also,
works.
note, Colby is the one who is responsible for my new Nightcrawler tale, if you've seen photos of it at
Yeah.
LA Comic-Con. So that's the kind of stuff that he designed. He designed my tail. He's doing all these cool like stitch bags.
I
What do we got there?
have-
Oh, his
this
new
is-
Captain America helmet.
We have, Krakoa
This is
flower.
so pretty. Look at that, the
Yeah.
layout.
All right, so we definitely
But
need to make sure that we
also-
have your links put out. Like,
Oh my God, yes.
okay, we definitely have to make sure that we put your store link information front and center.
It's so cool.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So I'm, selling some
Check out
fun
his store.
stuff in addition to doing custom commissions and everything like that.
He's so proud.
Yeah, it's like a playroom. His workspace is the playroom.
Seriously, it's like at one point I think we should just take a trip to Colorado, hang out with him, check out his place.
Because that
That's so
definitely was
cool.
feeling like a whole Spaceballs moment with the
Yeah.
just like it coming in and just like
Oh, the plan is to do a gender bent magic cosplay with it at some
Excellent.
point when I get to it. So yes, all that kind of fun stuff. I'll be going up over there more to set up shop and maybe even do some of the streaming myself. It's the kind of place like with House of Carnation that we're trying to build online. It's our kind of people that, are drawn to fantasy world because mainstream society just doesn't seem to fit for them. So that's the group that I would like to help support.
Love it.
all right.
And
Jordan, did you have
what about
any
you?
premieres, rewatches, or shout outs that you wanted to give for this week?
Well, I was just telling Colby that I finally cleared my all-purpose table of anything cosplay or convention related because I am in work mode. This last quarter, our organization, Transgender Strategy Center, is doing our end of the year fundraising campaign
Mm.
where I was going to announce on the 18th, but realized no one's supposed to spend anything on the 18th. So I might announce this on the 17th. Instead of spending money on No King's Day, make your donations to your choice of nonprofit organizations of any amount because your money is going to make a difference with organizations like mine, like Colby mentioned, where we work with trans leaders and trans organizations to become more resilient because the attacks are not going to stop. And yet we're only 1%. Why are they so obsessed with us? Hello. Why are they so obsessed with us? So
Right.
Mariah
2 weeks
Carey
to fight
is,
the
like,
military,
right
but
there.
suddenly the most vicious militant threat in America.
Right?
That was quick.
yeah.
Well, definitely, this episode does release on October 17th. So if you are
Ooh.
listening to this on the day that it comes out, you can
Yes.
still spend money. You
Yes,
can still
so-
donate. And if you need to
Make a
if you need to
donation.
donate on the 17th and on the 18th, that's also fine. Nobody's going to be mad about that.
That's right. And I would say that because it's going to be my 55th birthday.
Girl, why you
Happy
lying?
birthday!
No,
Woo!
isn't that fucking wild?
Yeah, every time I first met her and she told me how old she was, I was like, liar. You're
But
Yeah.
lies.
but that's that's not the point though. The point though is for my 55th birthday, I'm going to match up to $550 of any funds raised on October 17th. I'm going to match up to $550 to
Pay
go to
attention.
And I mean,
Transgender Strategy
let's be
Center.
realistic. What group in America right now is more under attack and could use support?
Mhm.
Because
I-
they're trying to distract us. So,
Mhm.
but you know what? We can put on a show.
Yeah.
that.
And I think we need to remind people that it is not right versus left. It's 99 versus 1.
Yes.
Yep.
Can we say release the Epstein files?
God.
I mean, to be fair though, you know what? This is getting catty, and this may get cut. I'm probably going to cut this part actually because it's catty. But you know, the way that man
Extra
apparently
features.
smells. Apparently, the way that man smells, you know.
Doesn't give a shit about like hygiene. Why?
On your exclusive Patreon page, these outtakes.
We have not set up a Patreon, but that is probably going to be on the list.
Yeah, we'll save this
So-
for when we have the Patreon. It's like,
You know,
And
We will-
also with House of Carnation, any of stuff like this that you would also like to post on that's what we would like to do. Like post your videos, like if you clips, like go listen
Yeah.
here.
here,
I will say there is something about it that being an adult, dressing up in a costume requires you to let go of your ego. And have a sense of freedom of this is my joy. I'm not going to censor myself and be normal for society. This is my moment to be happy and express myself. And it's incredibly healthy for people's mental health to have that. Have a creative outlet.
love it. Listeners, we have unfortunately come to the end of our podcast. I know. You're clearly devastated about it. How could it be over so soon? Well, good news. Our next episode's coming out next week. And of course, you're always more than welcome to listen to this one again if that's
Yes,
not
and I
fast
think
enough.
I have another outfit that I want to wear. So just letting you all know. We have a bunch of Hellfire Gala stuff, but it's just one obsession.
we'll definitely bring you guys back on for another one.
You guys need to come back on for another one, especially if I get bullied into this costume.
Nerd Cred takes time to build.
I
Okay,
have
but
my
there
own
are-
outfits that I want to share with you when we come back. Just letting you know. More sparkle, more glitter.
Yeah,
wanna-
Soul Sparkle.
I really want to point out that nerd cred and being a nerd, that there are so many different ways to be that. It doesn't have to be cosplay. Some people
right.
draw, some people take pictures. That your involvement in this community does not always require you to put on a costume.
Well, I
There
was
are
gonna
other-
say,
I
you need to
highly
wear a
recommend it.
costume. You
but
need to wear the
don't
Jean
think
Grey
that
costume.
if you don't put on a costume, you can't be a part of the community.
Yeah, hug your inner child and wear that costume. Be that weird, silly kid, along with other adults being weird, silly kids.
Yeah,
And
hang out with us long enough to where you feel comfortable putting on a costume.
Also, a
And-
big thing with Colby, or not Colby, with cosplay is you do not have to have the perfect costume. You can
Mhm.
do closet cosplay. You can do whatever you want. You can do like Disney bounding, just outfits. Have
And
fun.
you don't have to paint yourself like some of our friends who paint themselves blue, or like London Horseshoe who paints herself pink.
Free color. That woman's done everything.
Well, on the beautiful like painting front, it's time to mention that we have an Instagram. We're on Apple and Spotify and YouTube, and we're working on expanding our reach. So if you like the episode, make sure you rate, review, subscribe, especially if you're trying to up your nerd cred. Make sure you're also subscribed to X-Men 101, because if you're on a first name basis with voice actors like these guys are, you got to find other people who are too.
And
And
where
House
can
of
people
Carnation.
find our guest?
Me, it's the girl with a great smile. .com, Instagram, also Blue Sky and Skylight, because at some point we're gonna have to move, folks.
Fair enough.
Very, very that. I'm trying to be mostly on houseofcarnation.com. Also podcasts along with X-Men 101. My cosplay account is coscolby, COSCOLBY. My regular account You should probably be 18. It's Colby Melvin, COLBYMELVIN.
Awesome.
Well,
All
you
right,
can follow me at Instagram, or you can follow us at Instagram at Up Your Nerd Cred Pod. If you're looking for me across platforms, I'm at Kiracy Davis.
And I'm at
Also, my shop
AMDS.
is coscolby.com.
Oh, yeah, can't forget that one. And you can find me at AMDS. As we always say, come yell at me about continuators or show me your fan art, whatever you want.
The good
And
fan
if
art.
i.e. the naughty stuff, like Colby's personal page, 18 plus.
So,
If you have burning questions that you want us to discuss so you can up your nerd cred, make sure to like and subscribe, leave comments, and if we pick your question, we'll shout you out in the discussion segments.
also, please make sure to get your friends to also like and subscribe to the pod, and your family, and any of the coworkers that you trust to not be weird about listening to the same podcast as you, and that one guy on
And
the
good night,
bus.
everybody.
All right.